you for coming to the channel. My name's Kieran. I'm an antiques dealer based in South Wales. So I've been out with my partner Hayley today, and we went down to Macarthur Glen, which is in Bridgend in South Wales. And we're taking a bit of a diversion on the way back to go to a couple of antique centres. There's quite a few in one direction heading up towards the Brecon Beacons, and then we'll come back to Caerphilly then. So I'm outside the first one now, which is in a town called Ammanford. So it's Ammanford Antique Centre. I haven't been to this one. I think I've been here once before, and the other times I tried coming here it was closed actually. So Hayley's gone ahead to check they're open, and if they are, we'll do some filming and see what's there. So here we go. Here we go, they are open today. YouTube have some copyright rules when it comes to music. So where there's background music, the radio on, I've had to change the sound and mute what's really happening in the shop. Now, this is Ammanford Antique Centre. As we said, they are open Tuesdays to Saturdays, 10 PM till 4:30 PM. When I've come in the past, I would have come on a Monday, potentially even a Sunday as well, which is why they weren't open. They are open on all the other days. This is actually the first time I've ever filmed like in a shop when I'm out and about, so I'm not sure if the camera angle is going to be the best, but I'll try and give some commentary as we go along to give you a bit of background info. So these figures are possibly Meissen, which will tell you the price. They're actually, if they are Meissen and they're 19th century, maybe even earlier, that'd be a very good price. So they look really good. So I picked up this cloisonne vase. I knew it was modern. The price is about right for it. But if you look at my other videos, I've done videos on Chinese cloisonne in the past. So a decent selection of paperweights here. I didn't really look at them long enough to really identify them. So that's one for when I next go down there. It's quite a good price actually for that. So this was a Welsh dairy bowl. They can go way beyond £100 a lot of the time, so I thought that was a really good price. Even though there is a crack in it, that's just kind of normal for them. This sheet I found interesting, the certificate. I was trying to see if it was linked to the bowl in some way, but I don't think it was. So this centre, there's one big main room that we saw when we walked in, and there's a couple of rooms at the back and then an upstairs as well. So right now we're in one of the back rooms where a lot of the furniture is, and a few other items as well. So there's another one of the dairy bowls that I had a look at as well. This one priced at £85, I believe, because there wasn't the crack in it. And as I said, that's actually a good price for them. Usually they go into the three figures. And there was also this Clarence Cliff joke, which of course caught my eye initially. As you can see, there's been restoration on there, but it has been priced accordingly off the back of that. Now I've got such a backlog of items at the minute that I need to get up for sale. I wasn't really on the lookout to buy new things as such. I was more shopping to see what was available and get a good idea of prices, maybe learn a thing or two. So it was unlikely that I was going to buy anything. The only time I'd make an exception is if something stood out to me so much that I wouldn't get that opportunity again, or the price was so good that I couldn't pass it by. Time was against me on this trip as well. I wanted to get to as many of the centres as possible because we got there about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so a lot of this is unfortunately rushed, and I do miss quite a few things because of that. Now these stalls were really interesting because they had JWR on there, and I think that refers to Great Western Rail, which means they were possibly used on the railway and would therefore be worth a lot more money. This piece of advertising in the background, it said Victorian advert, grabbed my eye. I thought it was really interesting, and it's something I'm trying to learn more about, advertising, whether it be enamel signs or antique versions as well. So we'll see. If I go down there again, I'll probably look at that and see if it's still there. I actually thought this jug, it's a piece of vintage pottery. It's not the type of thing I usually buy. But £20, I thought that was a really good deal, and it looks really good in an antique shop. So, and you know, if you bought it for your home, that's a great option. So, I thought it was a really good deal. This table, the same, 75 quid. I thought it looked excellent. You know, it had amazing style to it. So again, I think that's a real bargain. If you were to go down there and get that, I think anyone who bought it at that price would be really happy with it. Now this bowl, I was looking to see if it was Waterford crystal, so Irish cut crystal, which holds really good value. It does have an etched mark on there, but I couldn't make it out as Waterford, so I just left it in the end. So these last two rooms, these are the upstairs section of the centre, and there's a lot more different pieces as well. As you can see, we're going through into the second room now. A lot of furniture, but always go and check out every single room in these places. You just never know what's in the corner. Now these peacock chairs, I thought looked amazing as a group. I've never seen them like this. Usually they're just one on their own. To see three of them in that sort of descending order, I just thought it looked really good. Now, of course, when you're in a Welsh antique centre, you're going to find a lot of Welsh pieces, and there's a lot of national pride in Wales. And when you find pieces like this one, which have been made in the country, going back centuries, and made by hand, you know, for vernacular purpose, they hold extra value. So that was a really impressive chest of drawers there, and that was the reason why they were priced as £358. That was a nice camel store as well. I always like to see them out and about. There's another one of the dairy bowls. This one is continental unlike the others, and has been painted on the inside. Now if you look these up, the price that they pull and are certainly being sold for are a lot more than is being asked for here. That was a really good price for one. Here you're seeing a really good collection of Welsh coal mining memorabilia. That's including lamps and checks, snuff boxes. Now in this part of the world, the coal mining industry was huge. We became a mass exporter to the world for coal, and all families around this part of the world have a connection to Welsh coal mining, so it's a really important part of our history.
Yeah. How did you learn about like Welsh blankets then? Because isn't there the patterns and colours that are different every time?
Changes, colours, different types. It takes many years.
Yeah. Because I want to learn a bit more about them, but I find it quite hard to understand the differences in years. And so I heard people say before that different colours and different patterns come in at different times. And
That's right. I mean, if you've got one and you want to know everything about it, bring it in and I'll give you all the info.
So you could catch then a chat I was having with Shane, who owns the antique centre, and it's actually it's not loads of dealers. They actually own all the items in the centre, which is really impressive actually. Usually there's a lot of dealers in one place. Now he was saying that they have a massive collection, one of the biggest, if not the biggest in Wales, of Welsh blankets, and I was just asking how he's learned to date them and understand the quality of them, and he was very generous to even offer to support me if I ever bought any in the future, and of course he was very generous to help to allow me to film in the shop as well.
okay, that was really good. That was Ammanford Antique Centre. Spoke to Shane, who runs the place, who was happy for us to film. Very helpful. So next we're going to Llandeilo, the Works Antique Centre, and we'll see what they have there. There's the leaflet from Ammanford Antique Centre, all the details. Definitely go and have a visit if you're around. There's some amazing stuff in there actually. Good prices.
Quickly want to show you on the map the route I took for the trip then. So here we are, this is South Wales.
I live in Caerphilly, which is by there. You've got Cardiff, where my antique centre, which is actually a little bit further down. So here's where we started. So Ammanford Antique Centre, we started there. We then travelled up to Llandeilo to go to the works. You're talking, that's probably about half an hour drive. You then, after the works, can drive up to Llandovery. That's again similar sort of distance. Couldn't go there, unfortunately. Didn't have enough time to pop into that one, but did manage to get into Trecastle, which is again just a little bit further down the road, just before they close. So it really is a great route if you're looking for antiques or vintage pieces. That's not to mention all the charity shops that you'll find along the way in the little towns. If you started really early, we started in the afternoon. If you started really early, you could go to Carmarthen, you got Brecon, you even got Bilf Wells up here with antique centres. So there we go. It's a great route. If you're in the area, I recommend spending a day taking it and having a look what's available in those places.
Centre in Llandeilo, where I've been many times. I really rate it. I've got some great buys here in the past. Always try and stop up by if not when I'm passing. So we'll go and have a look what's in there. This first store that you see when you go into the works is run by a dealer called Richie. I love going to this stand because he always had really good pieces and at very good prices. Here he has this collection, this is quite new, of artworks by Kyffin Williams, probably the most famous and well-liked Welsh artist in history. His sketches and his drawings all go for high amounts, and he's priced them at very fair prices. Even his prints go for hundreds and hundreds, so they're very well priced in there. Here he has a nice Moorcroft vase, which is a good price, a really large one. They're very popular. I love these carvings. He has two of these, and they're from Bali. They're very well made and very tall, really beautifully done. The Works Antique Centre in Llandeilo is open from Tuesday to Saturday 9:30 AM to 5 PM. Then on Sunday it's open 9:30 AM to 4 PM. It's also closed on the Monday, like Ammanford Antique Centre was as well, so I wouldn't recommend doing this trip on a Monday. However, it's open every other day and really good opening hours. As you're seeing, there's an amazing range of items, huge amount of pieces, there's cabinet stalls. Here we're looking at some African art. That bird interests me, the bead one. Now they are linked to the Yoruba people, and if they're genuine, they can be worth quite a lot of money, those beaded birds. Here you're seeing the cabinets you'll see at the front of the store. And now I spoke to them before I went in and made sure they were okay with me filming, and yeah, they were absolutely happy with that, so I'm very thankful that they allowed me to film as well. So here in these cabinets, what I also like about this place, there's always fresh stuff in here. Every time I go in, there seems to be a load of new stock that have come in, which is exactly what you want from an antique centre. It's frustrating when you go to one after not being for say a month, and then you go in there and it's all the same stuff. So it's very good to see them keeping it all nice and lively, nice and fresh. We like looking at these cabinets, which seem to have early editions of classic books, like you see in June there. That is an area that I'm trying my best to learn more and more about. It's a massive collecting area, antique books, that is, first editions. However, they can have huge values if you get the right ones, so that's why I'm trying my best to pick up on them where I can. So this is a pair of Indian chairs, probably mid 20th century. They're not going to be very old, I don't think. Could be wrong. I think they're beautiful, just really beautifully painted. Great to look at. And next time I go in the new year, if they're still there,
I could well see if I can get a deal for them. Look at that horse. What's that scratch built? This is a large antique centre. I think I'm on about the 4th room now. There's a load more of them. This is the 1st floor that you go on to. You can go downstairs and there's rooms off the back of off the edge of that. You then go down to the ground floor and there's more rooms just dotted all over the place. I believe it used to be a garden centre. I could be wrong. Huge place though, and loads to see. I don't capture it all in this video. That's beautiful. So as with the last centre, I'm not spending a lot of time on individual items just because we are pushed against time with it being the afternoon and it's, things are going to close soon. What you can see though is there's an amazing variety, and you could just get lost in one of these antique centres for one day if you spent your time there, and why not? You never know what type of gem you are going to find in places like this. If you go to my website, which is taliesinantiques.com, you will see that the items I sell are generally from across the world, and I like to have a really good mix of pieces from different eras and different cultures. In this video though, you will see I am focusing a little bit more on furniture than I normally would. That's because I have an antique store myself, which is in the pumping station in Cardiff, and I am going to be giving it a revamp in the new year and trying to bring in some interesting furniture, pieces of furniture. So that's why I'm paying a bit more attention to them than I normally would. Here I'm having a look at a couple of pieces of Moroccan pottery. They're labelled Turkish in this shop, but they are Moroccan. On the bottom of one of them is marked Fez, which is a place in Morocco. It's a similar style, it's the Iznik style. Now, Moroccan pottery is something I try and get cheap because it does sell very well online. Less so in shops, or certainly in my store. When I sell online, it seems to fetch good prices, and these were both £35. They would get a bit more than that online if they were sold online. So a little tip there from me is keep an eye out for Moroccan pottery. Now you may be wondering why I, as a dealer, why would I go and buy items in an antique centre where other dealers are selling, and presumably they would be looking to get the same price as I would. Well, what you find with antique dealers is every single one is different. We all have different motivations and interests, areas we know more about than others. So it's also worth pointing out that we get all types of items. We do house clearances, we go out and we buy things sometimes quite cheap. We buy job lots from auctions, and you get all sorts of different pieces. Whether you might only want one of the things, but you get a load of different things. So you go to the antique centre and they may be selling things that you're interested in at a really good price. This is a good tip for people who would go to charity shops, for example, to buy items to resell. You may find that antique centres are actually better because, as I mentioned, the antique dealers might sell them cheaper than the antique shops because they're not as interested in getting the full value. They just want to sometimes move it on. So it's a good tip for all resellers or anyone looking to get a bargain. Go and have a look at antique centres because you never know what you're going to find there. This little unit was quite interesting because there was a good mix of very good value for money pieces, like this Coca-Cola table for £59. I think that must be a really good price. I don't actually know how much they usually go for, but Coca-Cola memorabilia is very popular. But there was a good mix of really high quality furniture. So you had this amazing stickleback chair. This rotating book table I loved that. If I could buy that at a good price, I'd be over it all day. Now my eye always gets drawn to anything I think is Chinese porcelain. Unfortunately 99% of the time it's modern or reproduced pieces like the jar was just then. However, it's always something I'm keeping an eye out for because I'm pretty sure one day I'm going to find something pretty special in one of these places. I sold a table similar to this in my shop recently. My one was Indian and had elephant carved legs. They said this one is Burmese, which
it could well be. But yeah, I achieved good money for mine, so I'm always gonna have a look and see if it's a similar piece. Now this is the famous style of leather chair called the Chesterfield in oxblood red leather. Probably the most popular type of chair for antique dealers. If one is being sold online, antique dealers are all over it. So I always like to see what they're selling for when I see one in an antique centre, but it's very rarely going to be a good price for a dealer to buy at. This looked like a really good enamel sign. If there was a good price, and it would have to be below £100 for me to consider, then I would be seriously interested. They can fetch big money, especially the rarer ones. This box interested me because it was referred to as a sword box, which makes sense because of the size of it, but I've never seen one before, or never seen one referred to as a sword box anyway. So you'll see here now that the dealer here had some Hornsey pottery. It's not something I normally buy unless I saw really cheap, but I know it's very popular. These plates and the bowl, so the plate and the bowl, are very special. It's Llandeilo pottery from South Wales. They're going to be around the mid-19th century. They are highly prized pieces, very popular. I've seen them sell at auctions. Each piece will probably will probably sell for over £300. Probably quite easily. They might go for more than that. There was no price on these. I'm guessing because they're from the part of the world where these were originally made, the dealer is probably very fond of them. And I seriously doubt they're going to sell them cheap. But it's really good to see them, especially in a Welsh antique centre. Now, it's not just Chinese porcelain I'm interested in all Asian art, especially antique. Same with African art as well. If you go to my website, again, taliesinantiques.com, you'll see an Asian, sort of Chinese, Japanese, Far Eastern category. You'll see an Indian and South Asia art category, and you will see an African category as well. And it's more than ceramics, it's carvings, sculptures, all types of pieces. So I'm always looking at these type of pieces that we're looking at now. This one's a brush pot, the other one was a canister. These are both made from bamboo, actually. I think there was not a lot of resale value in it for me. They were probably priced just below, to be fair, what I'd be looking to get for them, but not enough to make a serious profit. So what I'm looking at here is known as a triptych. It's a religious iconography.
That's interesting.
The triptych refers to the folded panels, so those two side ones will fold into the central one, and can be used as kind of like a travelling icon, whether that be for shrines or for worship. This interests me quite a lot because you can see there's quite a bit of age to it. The patina and the wood, and just the fade as well. It was priced 145, so too much for me to take a gamble on, but I think it could well be worth a lot more than that.
Japanese marquetry box.
Now, I love this chair as soon as I saw it. Just the shape of it, the carvings, really intrigued me straight away. And you might be seeing a bit more of this one.
I like this little section. Put a few things in here before. It's my type of stuff in here. African, Asian art. Massen. Subcake, so Papua New Guinean 35. If that was a older one made for use, that would be worth a lot of money, but that's a decorative piece. Don't know why I picked that up. No. This cloth is interesting. It's Cuba. people, I believe. What information we got? Yep, so Cuba people, Congo, 145. That's about the price I'd be selling that as well. So. Another Kiffin, Williams, or Welsh art. Okay, so bought 2 items from there, which I'll show you now. I'll talk about them a bit more later on. But this folk art horse, got that for £50. Just thought it was a one of a kind. And this chair, it's Swedish, and carvings on that. Beautifully made. That was £70, so there we go. So what I'm showing you with these shots when we're driving to the next place is how beautiful the scenery is in South Wales as you're travelling about, and I often feel really lucky to be doing this job in South Wales, because where else is there better to drive around and just see this type of landscape. Now unfortunately, because of the time, we didn't have a chance to go to an antique centre which was on the way, which was Llandeilo Antique Centre. I've been there before, and they have really good interesting things there. Just because it was closer to home, we did try and make it to Trecastle Antique Centre, and we got there just in time. So this is the journey from Llandeilo to Llandeilo, to Trecastle Antique Centre. So you can see now why it's generally a lot better to go to a place like this when you have a lot of time to really study items. When there's so many pieces mixed together, it's quite difficult to spot those individual ones that you might be interested in. So plenty to see though, a good mix. I think there was potentially some things in the background now that I'm looking that I probably would have spent a bit more time having a look at. But you have a look and see if there's anything you think that I may have missed. Now, Trecastle Antique Centre's opening hours are shown as being 10 till 5, so 10 AM till 5 PM every day, which is brilliant. So fair play to them, and it means you can go there on any day and enjoy it. What I was seeing here really proved the point, I think, that a lot of dealers or resellers who sell a lot of vintage pottery would do really well coming to an antique centre. Unlike a charity shop, dealers are not after all the money most of the time. Often they're just looking to get enough profit to move it on and get the next thing. There you see a lot of Portmeirion, a big collection of Portmeirion pottery there. So yeah, if any of them happen to watch this, I'd really recommend trying out an antique centre and seeing if you can get a better deal than the charity shops, where charity shops are usually trying to get the highest value. Dealers aren't always like that. Now if you go to my website again, you will see a section dedicated to masks. I'm absolutely fascinated by them, so I always try and have a look at them when I go to these places. I'm trying to steer clear of the more decorative modern masks that you see, that the one you would have just then, but they always intrigue me, and if there's a good one or a rare one, I'm usually going to try and buy it. Like with the other 2 places, I did ask for permission to film the shop and the items I was interested in, and they were very generous and said it was okay.
There was a good selection of these enamel signs, so old advertising signs in the shop. It's still something I'm learning about, but if I can get a good deal for them, I'm going to buy them because they are just becoming more and more popular, I'm finding, and they get very good prices. So Trecastle Antique Centre is set over 2 floors. We're now on the 2nd floor, and yeah, it's like it must be an old barn or something like that, because it's just 2 big areas, both upstairs and downstairs. This section here is a lot of vintage tools, old canisters and bottles and all types of different things. Again, it's one of those places you could just have a real scavenge through and you never know what you're going to find. So in a second, you're going to see a Chinese porcelain dish that I looked at briefly, but when I got home, I actually went into a bit more detail because I thought maybe I missed something here. If you see the script and the scene, and as the tag said, it is quite unusual. On the back is a Kangji rain mark, which would mean if it was genuine, it'd be from the 17th century. However, I have checked into it. That double foot is making it more than likely, amongst other things, means it's almost certainly a modern reproduction or a fake. That enamel sign then was a Carmarthenshire one. That was really good. I found that really interesting. This African mask, again, it's a more modern one, I think. However, it was quite interesting. If I was on the lookout for more, I may have purchased that one. So another Chesterfield chair here, different than the other one. The Oxford red colour is usually the most popular. That is a good price for that one though. I think 165. And we have another enamel sign. I think they were all priced at 175, which I believe is about the right money for them. It's a fair price, but it's not the right price for me to buy them at. Okay, so that was Trecastle Antique Centre. It's coming to 5 o'clock now, so we just left there. We started about 1 o'clock, we got to Ammanford, and just getting past Trecastle. So yeah, I didn't have a lot of time in there, but it was a decent look around. But that's it for today, so just driving back now through the Brecon beacons, and we'll have a look at what I bought when I get home. So if you got this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Just to finish off, I just wanted to show you these 2 pieces that I bought. So first of all was this chair that you saw, £70. I thought it was a really great deal. Just incredibly well designed, amazing carvings all over it. That's going to look amazing as a corner chair or even a statement piece. So yeah, really excited to get that one up for sale, and it was really great to find something so unusual. And then also was this folk art horse, completely scratch built, probably mid 20th century. Paid £50 for it. You know, again, I'm hoping to double the money on that one. A really interesting one. And the thing with horses, there's so many horse lovers that someone's gonna just absolutely love that when they see it. So, well, look, that's it. Thanks again for watching the video. Really appreciate it. Until the next time, all the best and goodbye.